Welcome to the 8th Annual Crossroads Elite Invitational Camp. I'm Spencer Poyd. I'm joined by Crossroads Elite Director Adam Shoulders. We are live from Wichita, Kansas right now at the Farha Sports Center YMCA. Adam, 8th year of this camp. I got to tell you, bud, very impressive, and I appreciate you having me.
Really good. A lot of talent in here. It was very, very tough to narrow it down to 80 players. I
And
mean, we got down in that 80 to 90 range, and it was just a lot of good players, a lot of guys that got cut that could be really good players.
what we're watching right now is the start of the top 80. Adam, your format that you've created is a 8-team, 10-man roster. You're highlighting 80 of the top 320 players in this camp. A lot of high major future collegiate stars and even pros on the floor. And interestingly enough, your teams are named after your camp alumni. So we've got Team Michael Porter on the floor. Michael Porter, of course, healthy, blowing up right now in the playoffs, and you had him on your courts several years ago.
Yeah, so we thought it'd be cool to name these teams after some of our alumni. So the team in white is Team Michael Porter, and the team in blue is Team Kevin Knox. Here with the basketball is Matas Buzelis.
I liked him yesterday. Long Lithuanian kid, definitely a perimeter player at the next level. Got some weight to put on like a lot of these guys do, but he's very skilled with the ball, and he actually shot it really well yesterday. And there's one of the top players in the class. Chris Livingston wasting no time. Where do you feel like he stands in the 2022 group?
Oh, as far as productivity this weekend, I mean, he was one of the more productive guys. I know him and Brandon Miller are both top 5
And
players in their class.
right on cue, Brandon Miller with the drive past Livingston. Nice left hand there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are interested to see this matchup with Brandon and Chris both being top 5 guys.
I think they both came in here hungry. I'm not sure that they had matched up yet. I was hoping we'd get to see that on the EYBL circuit this year, maybe even a Peach Jam matchup. But tell us a little bit about the format. I mean, did you have to make any adjustments? Obviously, everybody's aware of the corona situation, the coronavirus, COVID. But you somehow managed to get over 300 players here, and you did so safely.
Yeah, we had to take precautions at the door as far as temperature checks and wearing masks and trying to just do the best that we could with that, during these times. But we wanted to give kids an opportunity still, you know, to in a year that seems almost lost with the coronavirus, where they could get some recruiting recruiting interest. And there's Chris Livingston with the dunk again.
All over the rim. Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's a great opportunity for a lot of these 2022 guys. We would have seen them playing 16 and under. The elite guys obviously would have been playing 17 under on the circuit. What I've found really intriguing, man, you've brought a lot of groups together. I mean, to see here in Wichita, Run GMC in the gym with Mocan, Brad Beal, you put a lot of guys from the East Coast. I would imagine without coronavirus, you would have had a lot of the Canadian kids here that normally
Yeah.
support you. So, you tell us, I mean, how did you start building this? I know it normally is a earlier in the year, a June event,
Yep.
and we backed it up to almost September now. So, how early did you start planning and making those adjustments?
Yeah, back around the probably during the shutdown. I mean, I was planning and expecting for having to move it back to this time. Um, and around June, really had to get a plan together, to postpone it here to the last weekend of August. And that back in June is when we had to do that.
Sure. For our listeners at home, I want to take you through the roster real quick. Team Michael Porter, which I believe, let's see, Team Michael Porter is going to be in
White.
white here. That's right. Thank you. 51 is Cameron Carr. 54, Tayson Chapman. 84, Jeremiah Johnson. 101, Zion Young. 134, Cameron Scott. 177, Blue Kane. 234, Brandon Miller. 238 was Trey Moala. He's been switched with Nick Smith, the 2022 guard out of Arkansas, to give this group a little bit more pop on the perimeter. You've got 276, Demarion Watson. 287, Isaac Davis. 298, William Kyle. And 302, Taj Manning. So some of these guys are on the floor right now, as you see. Nice drive there by Jeremiah Johnson. He's really progressed over the last couple years.
Yeah, definitely. I think the first time I saw him, he was playing up on a 15U team when he was in the 8th grade with Team Griffin, and now running with Brad Beal Elite on the Nike circuit. And he's a kid out of Oklahoma, Putnam City North High School, and had a really good weekend here in Wichita.
And Brandon Miller, another nice drive. It's pretty clear his potential, enormous ceiling.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he looks like maybe one of the more NBA draft prospect type guys that's here at the camp, you know. And the crazy thing about him is, you know, we found him in a back gym when he was playing with a team called RSD in the 8th grade at a tournament in Indiana that I was at, and we invited him to come to the camp. And you know, now he's a top 5 player in the country. But you know, back then I was talking to him this morning. I mean, I told him, I said, you still got to play with that same hunger that you played with back then when you were an unknown playing with a team called RSD.
That's right. I think you brought up 2 fascinating points. One is the fact that you mentioned him as a potential lottery pick. I think there'd be some people listening that might scoff at that, but the reality is you've set a platform for a lot of those type of players to be here. I mean, we mentioned your alumni list with Porter and Knox right here, and let me take you through Team Kevin Knox in blue real quickly, and then we'll come back to the conversation. So,
Yeah, this kid with the ball, William Benjamin from New Mexico, number 5, has had a surprising weekend. Won the state championship in New Mexico this year as the starting point guard at Las Cruces High School.
That's right. So number 5 is William Benjamin. Number 50 we've mentioned already, Matas Bazelis from Lithuania. Number 94 is Cordell Livingston, the twin of Chris Livingston that we've talked about already. Number 99 we'll talk about a little bit later. He is a 7th grader, now 8th grader out of Oklahoma City, Carlshon Young, one of the youngest players in camp. Number 129, Tyrese Cannon. Number 157, Yasan Warren. Number 179, Trey Cheatham. Number 193, Mosey Downing Rivers. Number 223, obviously Chris Livingston has heard his name called on this broadcast already several times. You've got 241, Samuel Murray. 282, Patrick Bath. 303, Tyler McKinley. And that wraps up Team Kevin Knox in blue. So we're into our first rotation now, Adam. Let's talk about some of the guys coming onto the floor. You see Tayson Chapman running in front of us now, number 54. And it looks like he's passed over ball handling duties to start his rotation with Nick Smith there. And right off the bat, Smith shows you what he does best, which is shoot that ball on the perimeter.
Yeah, Smith is a very aggressive scorer. You know, this weekend he's really looked to score the basketball a lot.
And Smith was another guy I think we both kind of cued in on his potential early. We saw him with that Joe Johnson Hawks playing with the local group there in his state, and he's obviously moved on to Brad Beal. Talk about that potential roster next year, what Brad Beal's 17 under EYBL team could look like.
Yeah, they definitely had an impressive squad on the 16s and the 17s for sure. And some of these guys will be playing with them, I believe so, on the EYBL circuit next year. Nick Smith and Brandon Miller together, right?
Potentially, you know, several other guys. Omaha Blue was here yesterday.
Oh yeah,
really
Omaha.
Impressive player in the 2023 class, and I guess
unable to play because he has a family. He was here Saturday and Friday, but
that's right.
Unable to play today.
Gave us 2 solid days there, and he's another one. As you see, Cameron Scott here, the South Carolina native. He's got some great perimeter abilities for an incoming freshman as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of upside. Yeah, he's what, 6'5", 6'6",
right
playing
there
on the perimeter.
Lexington, South
class
Carolina.
Of 2024 out of Lexington, South Carolina.
You got
was
it.
all state as a 8th grader playing high school basketball. And I know that they're in a pretty tough division of South Carolina basketball.
And he made some noise on the circuit with Team United as well. That team do a great job out of the Charlotte, North Carolina area. They've got several prospects on that team that we'll be hearing about on the recruiting trail in the next few years.
Oh, there's Patrick Bath with the dunk.
Interesting story from him. So from North Dakota, moves to Minnesota, and Minnesota's turned out a lot of prospects, including that guy right there we just saw shoot the ball, Tayson Chapman. Tell us a little bit about Patrick Bath.
Yeah, Patrick Bath, I didn't know much about him coming into the camp, and he actually he's a kid that I think he's playing with D1 Minnesota out of on the Adidas circuit, and has a big reputation up in Minnesota in the class of 2022.
That's right.
Yeah, he was a surprise for me.
And actually check that 2023 class.
Oh, 2023.
That's right, yeah, sophomore now. And you see Nick Smith there on that last possession hit his second 3 and then a little hesitation dribble. Look at the touch in the lane. I mean, he is really a guy that can put digits on the scoreboard quickly.
Couple B-Mays guys out there. 177 Blue Cane and 157 Yasan Warren.
Yeah. Blue Cane, great freshman year. Really gained a lot of attention in the Knoxville area. Turned into an explosive athlete at about 6'4", shooting the ball pretty well. He had some good moments out here this weekend, and obviously I think he earned his way into this top 80 group. Look at the penetration there. That's a tough shot. I think some of these young guys, these guards, they learn quickly. They've got to develop that middle game and really learn how to play with pace in the lane.
Yeah, we've really stressed that over the weekend of having guys to really make good. We want them to make good decisions with the basketball. A lot of times I think they come to these camps and they think, you know, they want to show off their dribbling skills, dribble in place for 10 minutes. And we've really wanted these guys to play good half-court basketball, defend, and make good decisions with the basketball. So hopefully, I think the coaches really instilled that in them this week, and we're seeing it here
Very
somewhat.
much so. And Nick Smith gets a cheap one there, but I think he's closing in on 10 points now. I think that put him in double digits. He's really carrying the offensive load quickly. Another guy that just dribbled up the court, you saw him rip it off the rim and push there. 241, Samuel Murray in blue. Really intriguing guy to me out of Mississippi. Tell us what you know about him.
Yeah, so he plays with New Orleans Elite on the Adidas circuit, and he's from southern Mississippi. I believe it's Harrison. Is it in Hattiesburg?
Yeah, well, he's at Harrison Central, which is in Gulfport.
Yeah, Harrison Central and Gulfport, and he is interesting because he's got size. He can play on the wing.
And that New Orleans Elite program has obviously had a lot of success. They've had a great guard. They had Lamar Peters. You go back a couple years ago, program director Greg Holmes had Javon Felix, had a great career at Texas. And Ricardo Gathers as well, who transitioned to football. He made the Cowboys roster, even though he's a basketball guy at Baylor. So Greg Holmes has definitely continued to dig up talent in that greater New Orleans area, and as you said, even into Mississippi now.
Yeah, a few of their guys have made the 80 here for sure.
And a little loose with the pass there, but I want to talk a little bit about Tyler McKinley. That's a freshman you're seeing running up and down the court, and 303. And I'll tell you what, physically, James Wiseman looked almost identical to that going into his freshman year. Now, certainly we're not going to put the pressure from an evaluation standpoint on McKinley like that, but very, very similar frame. I remember watching James Wiseman with In-Play Elite as an 8th grader out of Nashville, and Tyler McKinley has a lot of length and looks like he's going to continue to spurt up.
Yeah, definitely. Out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Walnut Hills High School.
That's right. That's right. Interesting to see what he's going to do his freshman year and how he continues to develop.
Look at Mosaic really defending at 193 from KC Run GMC.
I think he likes those matchups there against Johnson, the Brad Beal guy. They've had some fun out here matching their guys up this weekend. Yeah. Everybody missed the EYBL circuit. And those two programs, in addition to several others, but recently MoCan ran their combine, Brad Beal ran theirs. You had an opportunity to be there and see some of those guys. Was that a big pitch for you to get some of these guys to attend this event after going to the combine and seeing their talents?
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys were just hungry to get out and play against some of the top competition. So when I was going out recruiting for the camp, they wanted to get out there and really compete. So I think without having the EYBL this year and the Adidas Gauntlet and the Under Armour Association, a lot of these guys just wanted to come out and compete with some of the best kids in the country. So
strong drive there by Mosaic Downing Rivers. You just mentioned good left hand. So to keep the pace of the game going, shooting fouls are going to be plus 2 points. You get shot, obviously you get a chance to get a and one if you're shot on a shooting foul. And there's a young guy.
There you 99, go. Carl Sean Young from Oklahoma City.
Left-handed guy, really impressed with his scoring ability. And I'll tell you what, Adam, he didn't miss a beat. He seemed to blend right in, was very aggressive from the start, even on Friday night.
Brandon Miller, a little turnaround jumper in the lane.
There's a select group of guys here, obviously Livingston on the ball right there, and you just saw Brandon Miller put one through the basket. Those two guys, Omaha Blue, there's some special players in the mix, no doubt. And, the talent, the physical measurables of these guys obviously helps them stand out. But you've had a number of players at your camp over the years that maybe didn't pass the look test, but still panned out to play at the highest level. Is there something you look for when you identify these guys at such a young age and put them on a platform like this that helps you, I guess, kind of, in a way, project their success down the road?
Yeah, I think looking at long-term potential compared to the short-term, when you're dealing with younger guys, And that's what I try to do when I'm recruiting for the camp is just try to find, you know, guys that have, you know, they might be show promise in a little bit of everything, you know, and they might have length, they might have height in the family, they might have a good pedigree, you know, mom or dad play college basketball. So I mean, those are kind of the things that you definitely look for, and then you know obviously the basketball ability because ultimately these guys are basketball players, you know, not just athletes. You don't want a guy that can just run and jump. You want a guy that really knows how to play basketball. So I mean, we're looking for all those things. It's a combination of all those things.
Skill level continues to just accelerate. You know, the adage I use is that there's a league for athletes and there's a league for skill guys. The league for athletes is called the G League, and the league for skill guys is called the NBA. And just the emphasis that's placed on versatility now at all levels, and I think that's even trickled down to the youth level. I mean,
Ooh,
as
Brandon
we talk
Miller
about that, right? I mean, how many
knocks down the
6'8" guys
three.
are doing that off the dribble
I
right now?
know. With Chris Livingston in his face.
Livingston's played well himself, though. I mean, looks like he's added some good weight. He's been really strong out here, really aggressive, and he's tough because Livingston can do a little bit off the dribble, but he's just such a bulldozer going into that rim.
And here's Jeremiah Johnson with the ball.
This is kind of a Oklahoma City matchup here, guarded by the young guy, Carlshon Young. Did you have an opportunity to watch him much this weekend? I know you
Carlshon?
you invited several 2025 guys who kind of jumped out to you in terms of that youngest group.
Yeah, it's amazing
got the
for him
invitations.
being an incoming 8th grader, Carlshon. It's amazing how, you know, he's been able to be productive against older kids. I mean, a lot of times guys like that, you know, even if you're talented in your class and you're that young, but he's actually shown out here, you know, being a younger guy. Carlshon Young.
We've got a 10-point advantage here by the white team. It's Brandon Miller, just another
Man, Miller's getting in a
tough
little
finish.
groove here.
Yeah, he's got great touch, and I think it's great, man. Some of these unique stories about guys, it's you know you can really tell that you take a vested interest in every player here. You know their backstories. You can remember the exact time you first saw them play, and Chris Livingston showing that explosiveness right there in the lane once again. But I was going to ask you, you know, what's one of your favorite stories, right, in terms of identifying these guys early? Give us something that will always stand out to you in terms of maybe a memorable experience watching a great player play for the first time.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously when we first started the camp, one of the first camps we ever had, we had Michael Porter Jr. And I mean, you know, a guy, when you talk about pedigree, you know, mom and dad played college basketball, and you know, we had him at our camp at a young age, and it was just exciting to see him grow over the years. You know, he came to 3 of our camps, so I think guys like that, and then you see a guy like Kevin Knox that comes out, doesn't make the All-Star team,
Right.
and then now he's playing for the New York Knicks. You know, as a young guy, just was, you know, still growing and coming into his own. And, you know, I think those kind of stories are just what makes it fun. Oh, he forced that a little bit. I don't know if I like that shot. Here's Matas Buzelis, number 50, passes it to Carlshon Young. Matas Buzelis, number 50, he's a guy that, you know, he should have been playing with Mac Irvin Fire this year on the EYBL. Would have been his first year on the EYBL.
That's right.
He's a Lithuanian kid, 6'7", athletic, has some skill.
And very few people have seen him.
Yeah, and very few people have seen him. So I think he's really been hurt by the year that was lost due to coronavirus.
Fortunately for these 2022, 2023s, they get another year or two on the summer circuit. I mean, obviously our only hope is that we find some sense of normalcy going into next spring and summer. But again, man, events like this are just such a great opportunity for these guys to be seen. And as you said, really just come together for a weekend of elite competition because they don't always see it to this degree where they live and where they compete locally.
For sure.
So you mentioned Michael Porter. You've got Kevin Knox. We've got a whole list of your pros and potentially soon-to-be pros on the alumni list. Some of the guys this weekend, obviously, outside of the obvious, we mentioned Livingston, Brandon Miller. Do you have any surprise or breakout guys that maybe played better than you thought?
There's a kid from Minnesota that just knocked down the 3, Demarion Watson.
There you go.
Yeah, he's
that was a great setup there, right on cue.
Yeah,
Thanks,
right
Demarion.
on cue. He's a kid I didn't really know much about coming into the camp from from Minnesota. What class is he? 2022.
That's right. And there's Livingston again with another 3.
Yeah, I think Livingston and Miller kind of relish this matchup against each other. You know, being ranked, you know, in the same neighborhood.
Sure.
You know.
I distracted you there. Take me back to DeMar Watson. 2022. He's a Maple Grove, Minnesota guy. He's at Minnehaha Academy, so he played with Jalen Suggs.
He's actually not at Minnehaha Academy anymore.
Oh, well, I take that back.
I just heard from his coach this week.
He is transferring.
He's transferring. I don't know
boy.
where.
Okay.
I don't have the school right now. But
So you set us up, but you can't deliver the execution there with the new high school. Okay, so DeMar Watson on the move. Played last year at Minnehaha Academy with Chet Holmgren, Jalen Suggs, and company. You know, Prince of Ligbey's on that team too. Minnehaha just loaded with talent. Shows you how many good players like to play with good point guards. And speaking of good point guards, Will Benjamin right there hitting that jumper. He might be another breakout candidate.
Yeah, I was talking about him earlier, the kid from New Mexico.
That's right.
Won the state championship as a sophomore as a lead guard for Las Cruces High School.
Coach's son.
Coach's son, all the way from New Mexico.
That's right. And he brought a 7-footer with him.
Yeah, 7-footer. Also, you'll see him later on in our Elite 8 bracket.
Nick Smith, I think, even though he loses that one, coughs it up. His game really grows on you if you need a score. And Chris Livingston, I mean, I don't know how many times we're going to say his name on the broadcast, but obviously he's just an elite-level athlete. Clearly one of the top guys in the 2022 class, and the way he plays in transition, it's only going to look even better in a camp setting where it's a little bit more open.
Yeah. I mean, somebody needs to get out in front of him, but I mean, he's kind of intimidating, I think. I don't know if you want to step in front of that, right?
Not me. Nick Smith on the dribble and kick
here's
there
a kid,
and converts the bucket.
Cameron Carr, tons of upside, number 51, plays for KC Run GMC.
And speaking of coaches' sons,
he is a coach's son. His dad, Chris Carr,
that's right,
was a 7-year NBA player.
And now a Wildcat.
Now a Kansas State Wildcat on the girls' side. He's a coach on the girls' side. But Cameron Carr, number 51 here, he has so much upside. He's skilled, and I think he's going to grow quite a bit. He hasn't hit that spurt yet. I mean, when you talk to him, he sounds like a little kid still.
Sure.
But he's a kid that's he's good now, but I think when he hits that growth spurt here within the next year or two, he's going to be a guy that's really good for LJ Goolsby's squad, Run GMC.
Want to go back to that dunk there. That was 302 Taj Manning, Grandview, Missouri native, Grandview High School. He's on the circuit with KC Run GMC, and he is transferring to Bishop Miege.
Okay, Bishop Miege.
So he'll be playing with Mark Mitchell, his travel teammate, on a Bishop Miege team that has another one of your alumni not too long ago in Bowl.
Yep.
The pipeline continues for Crossroads Elite Camp, the Bishop Miege connection.
Keep them coming, right?
That's right. Livingston, another tough matchup there for Nick Smith. You know, it'll be interesting to see long term. You know, Livingston, a legitimate 6'6". You can see the body. He's got the physique. If he can develop that jump shot to the point where he's really able to create for himself with consistency off the dribble, you've got to imagine he's a guy that his scoring translates all the way to the NBA level.
Yeah, Livingston.
That's right.
Yeah, he was a guy. What was it? USA basketball. 2 years. Was it 2 years ago?
It was, yes. So the U16s, they went down and they, played in the FIBA Americas tournament, and he was named MVP of that. And he's a guy that, they always say elite players, you want to chase somebody in front of you. He's got a heck of a guy to chase in Amani Bates.
Yeah, no doubt. That's going to be a tough chase, too.
That's right. But Livingston, he's talented in his own right. I think there's a lot of other classes where he would be considered the guy if you didn't have a, potentially generational player and talent in Amani Bates in that 2022 group. Talk about a little bit about that class. You saw them very early. You've had a number of their guys come through this event, and a number of returnees this year in that 2022 group. What do you expect from that class at the collegiate level in the next 2 years?
Well, it's loaded, and, we've had a lot of the top guys in that class that are alumni from either, camps in years past. And, I think it has a chance to be one of the better class for sure, 2022.
Patrick Bath, overshot that a little bit. And this is where I like Blue Cane. I like to see him on the ball. Of course, Nick Smith, again, on just an electric score. Great backcourt there for this
Oh,
group.
with the
Is
4
Nick
point,
Smith
give him
heating
4?
up. We do. Give him 4. Count the bucket and the foul. So 4-point play there from Nick Smith. He's trying to keep up with Chris Livingston, the scoring column here in the first half. Or first
really
rotation,
aggressive.
rather, excuse me. Let's talk a little bit about that. You don't do halves here. Crossroads Elite, 30-minute games. You keep the action hot. A 10-10, 5-5, or excuse me, a 15-15.
No. So at the 20-minute mark.
Okay, here we go. Explain it to us.
During the camp games, at the 20-minute mark, we do five in. So every team has 10 players. So instead of doing every 5
We'll
minutes,
just watch
5
Nick
in,
Smith
5
score
out.
again and again while you continue this. Go right ahead, though.
So when you have at our camp, so we have 30-minute running clock games, and at the 10-minute mark, so at 20 minutes, we sub 5 in, 5 out, and then at the 10-minute mark, we sub 5 in, 5 out, and then the last 10 minutes, we split it 5 and 5. So just to let guys get more of a rhythm instead of pulling them out every 5 minutes. So
I like the rotations. I thought it kept the guys fresh, but that first 10-minute rotation allows them to get into rhythm, and I felt like it just set the tone competitively for the whole weekend.
yeah, for sure. Okay.
Jeremiah Johnson there, a little long. Cam Scott coming through. I think first basket we've seen out of him. Talked a little bit about him again. 2024 group just entering their freshman year. I was impressed. You think about a group right now with 2024. A lot of those guys have not played a high school game, and I thought that they're playing players that have 2 years of varsity experience. A little showtime there from Jeremiah Johnson and Nick Smith. But did you feel the 2024 group and the 2025 group responded well here, against elite, older competition?
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, we had some 8th graders and some incoming 9th graders that are in the Elite 80, and playing against older kids. I mean, to be able to have an impact at that age, I mean, is very impressive.
Well, and I think even more impressive, to give everybody perspective, you obviously hands-picked these guys. They were selected, invited, and now, they're here attending. But when we were in the coaches meeting, you allowed me to sit in on that last night, listening to these guys and talk about these players and the offer list as Jeremiah Johnson gets to the rim in transition there with a nice finish. The group that you had in 2024 and 2025 knocked off older players that already had offers. So in this top 80, you had guys that have Division I offers, not interest, offers from Division I schools that are older that got beat out by younger players that have yet to play a high school game. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot just to the talent level at the camp this year. I mean, it was very difficult because you had guys that were college players that won't be playing in the All-Star 80, the Elite 8 bracket. So we have guys that had to go home today when we made the cut that, it was very tough to send them home, I mean, just because they're guys that could play college basketball and be really good players. So
winding down here, Demarion Watson again with the slam in transition.
So 74-45 is the score here. You got me talking a lot. So
a little bit of a blowout. We're at 76-47. And while we've been giving all these player tidbits, I've enjoyed this conversation, though. And I'm sure that the people watching the live stream have enjoyed the game more than our conversation. But there is just a tremendous amount of talent on the floor. I think it's important to give these guys their due. And we've had matchups like this all weekend. So you're watching Will Benjamin, 5 in blue from New Mexico. Tayson Chapman showing some nice touch on that pass. And then you've got a guy like Tayson Chapman, Minnesota. Totino Grace High School, plays with D1 Minnesota. We've talked about him. One of the top guards in the country, but Will Bath comes out here and he's able to make a name for himself playing against elite guys. So I think you've had a great blend this weekend of the guys with reputations and profiles have played up to their level of expectation, but you've had so many breakout guys. I feel like this year has been a special year because we didn't have the circuit. And so many guys at this camp have emerged. And, I've heard Eric Bossi from Rivals. You've seen John Stovall, Nike, and ESPN. Christian Papula is here from Vegas, a very respected scout on the West Coast. I've heard all these guys repeat over and over again this weekend. Who was that guy? Who is that guy? And again, I think that speaks to your ability to go out and find talent, but it also speaks to your ability to manage relationships and have guys here. So, publicly on air, I think you deserve that kudos for the talent that you put on the floor. And, again, I just appreciate the opportunity to recognize some of these players here on the broadcast today.
No, I appreciate that. I think I have a passion for it. I love it. I love putting this event together, and I'm happy to see it come to fruition, especially during these difficult times.
That's right. Well, Adam, great job. We are wrapping up the first of our top 80 game here at the 8th annual Crossroads Elite Camp. Special thanks to SUV TV for having us on the broadcast. I'm Spencer Pulliam, joined by Crossroads Elite Director Adam Shoulders, and we'll be back with Game 2 here shortly as we wrap up and on to the semifinal.